Hello everyone, welcome back to Sports Khabri and Arun Food. Unfortunately, Hiren will not be with us today. Uh, a sort of we had a long conversation to discuss how to get this done today, but we're here, and this is the combination you're going to get. Arnavaz is here, and I'll be here as well. Um, yeah, Nama, we mentioned this yesterday, and I think we thought we'll discuss it a little more in detail because it requires talking about. Ivan Vukomanović has officially parted ways with the Kerala Blasters, and it is big news. Although many of us did expect that it would happen. If you're a Kerala Blasters fan, Anwa, how do you take to news like this? Because on one hand, I think they have a lot of love for their coach, but do you think the average fan from the Blasters would also realize that it was time for him to move on?
Well, good evening. First of all, Rahul, it's a difficult one, I think, for a lot of Blasters fans because if you look at now 10 years of the Kerala Blasters in the Indian Super League, the longest serving coach of the club, he struck the right chords, the right tone, with the player, with the fans. I think also with the players, and yeah, and they loved him, simply said. But the problem at the end of the day stays, and this is still, it's a competitive sport, football. What did Vukovanović win? Or rather, one has to ask what he did not win, right? And that's the problem. I think that remains with those stats. I think also certain comments, statements in the last few weeks and months potentially are an issue. So all of these things then come together, and that's then the reason why Vukomanović no longer is the head coach of the Kerala Blasters.
Yep. I mean, it's a huge blow, and I think I've seen a lot of Blasters fans who've shown their love for their coach in the past, and it must be weird, it must be hard. But what do they need in the next coach coming in now? Because there's so much they've tried and tested so many coaches. Of course, it hasn't ended with a trophy for the Blasters, which I think has been the overarching problem for them. But who do they turn to next? What do you think they need in their next coach?
Um, the simple answer is for me is someone who can win trophies. That's the
It doesn't matter
uh,
what football he plays.
yeah. I think we would need to ask the Kerala Blasters fans, what do you want more? What do you want, so to say, the atmosphere at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium in Kulur? Uh, uh, that's one, and then if I add the other things also, do you want to be successful? And to me um, I think if I see the Kerala Blasters, and I did the video earlier today on this topic on my channel, and asked the question is what, or didn't ask the question, but I had the observation that I felt that the Kerala Blasters are one of the success stories of the Indian Super League in regard to fan connect of the ISL over the last 10 years, but that trophy is missing. So for me, that is something very, very important, that at some stage the Blasters need to get a trophy, and under ideally, I guess, under this coach, it would have been perfect for them. But it now has to be the next coach who comes in, and to me, very, very clearly, so therefore, let's see what happens, because I think the challenge now is to find a successor, a suitable successor. And there are a lot of rumors, crazy rumors going around who could be going where. So yeah, let's wait and see what happens.
I know I completely agree with you. I think the one thing that they missed and they so desperately I think need is a trophy. I don't think it really matters what kind of football they play. I think the fans will be behind them no matter what. They're that sort of club, I feel. And yeah, they just need that trophy so badly. Even if it comes in the form of a Super Cup, I think it will be great. It'll do wonders for them. Um, yeah, Igor Stimat saying Kerala Blasters in talks with current semi-final teams coaches. You think one of them will let a coach go to the Blasters, or any of those coaches would want to come to the Blasters?
See, the calculation is relatively simple. Habas looks like he's gonna not continue. coaching at all at his age and with certain health problems that he's had. Peter Kratky will stay at Mumbai City. So we're stuck with two coaches. Igor Stimac says Manolo is one who's supposedly talking to the Blasters, and there's another coach potentially who's in the running, and that's Sergio Lobera. So therefore that's that. So it'll be very interesting to see which coach really takes over and coaches the Blasters. I said. You didn't hear it. I said Manolo is one, and the other one is Lobera. And certain people linked to Odisha FC today very clearly said that they're hoping Lobera extends his contract after his first season with the Juggernaut. So therefore, it will be very interesting to see if one of those guys, if Manolo, for example, moves after one season Goa to the Blasters, or if someone new comes in. But for me, I think the point here is very clear that the Blasters need someone to come in who can potentially help win the title.
Yeah. I know. Then, of course, it would be really hard for them to get somebody from the top four of the ISL at the moment. Where do they look for the new coach then? Are they looking for somebody from outside, or are there potential coaches? I mean, Owen Coyle has, of course, done a good job with Chennai, and Juan Pedro Penali has also done a good job with Northeast. Could they look at those coaches as well? Although they're under contract, is that a possibility?
I think Benali is there to build a project at Northeast, so therefore, that's something. So for me, I again, if that Manolo rumor is true, which is in the market, I don't know, that would be a crazy one, because Manolo and such fans, that could be a great match. The question is if he can get the results, because I was watching early today his press conference ahead of the second leg against Mumbai on Monday, and it is I don't know, it's something which I felt was very some stuff was very weird, where he was very critical of Mumbai and this and that and everything. And he said one thing which I found very weird. He said, anyone who questions my substitutions, it makes no sense. It doesn't understand football and all that kind of stuff. So therefore, I don't know. There are certain coaches who I feel are slowly in the Indian Super League context are sort of losing the plot, and that's the danger, I guess, with him as well. And who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah. Rach is asking, Arama, coach between Goa and Kerala, do you think Vukomanović would want to stay in the ISL? And do you think Blasters fans will be accepting of the fact that their beloved coach went to a rival team?
It's in football, nothing is impossible. So for me, that is all, all possible. Let's put it this way, right? In football, nothing. You should just never know. But yeah, for me, if Vukomanović wants to stay in India and if he wants to go to Goa, why not? The question is, will a Vukomanović of a classic 4-4-2, that's his preferred system, is that the right one to make Goa successful?
Yeah. What about Juan Fernando? Of course, he's
sorry.
There's some time in India as well.
Again, I don't know if we are gonna go through the list of coaches who are in India. So for me, I would think it might be wise for the club to look outside and bring in someone new to give some new impetus into the club. And as I say, I feel they need someone who is a serial winner. I think that's what the Blasters need at the moment. I think they need someone who can win titles for them, because the club deserves that. I know that people call them bottlers, this, that, everything, but I think the Blasters deserve to be successful, and it will be interesting to see if they can really achieve more in the future. But for me, very, very clearly, the Blasters, with what all they've done, deserve something, and it would be, I think, good for Indian football for such a club to be able to win something as well.
100%. Rush is also saying, by the way, Des Buckingham takes Oxford United to the playoffs in League One, finishing 5th. So, yeah, when Oxford United 6-20 took over, and so he's done a fairly good job.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, I think
Promotion.
if you look at it now, most probably Mumbai City did the right thing. You know, when Des came around, um, Des took the team to a certain level. Peter Krutke has taken the team to another level, and therefore, from that perspective, everything done right in that way.
Yep, absolutely. Again, Anu, I just wanted to ask you in terms of the ISL, what will the Blasters' goal be from next season? Because I don't know what trophies they want. They probably want a trophy next season, but in the ISL, in the league itself, when you've got two teams like Mohun Bagan, Mumbai City, sort of the like they're already labeled the big boys, I think, of Indian football at the moment. Where are the Blasters going to ideally look to finish, or what will their aim be going into the coming season?
I feel that for the Blasters, the first question is, can you retain all the players that you want to retain? That's the first question, because there are rumors that Adrian Luna could be leaving. There are efforts from certain other clubs to Vivian is being linked with certain clubs. So the question is, can they keep their players? So for me, is that would be the question, and to me, it's very, very important. The point here is, who do you bring in, and do you have the next set of young players available to you to grow again? So that's the thing. I think so therefore, for me, it's something that I'm interested to see how the Blasters ecosystem, so to say, goes forward, because I feel Steamach had certain things that to me is something we'll have to see. And the question is, who's the coach going to be? Again, if it's Manolo, it's an interesting one. But then it's interesting because if you have young, talented players, Manolo can work with those kind of players. But Manolo needs also quality foreigners. So it looks like, if Diamantakos is leaving, Leskovic looks to be not extending his contract, Adrian Luna might be out. So there is a major rebuild then set to happen at the Blasters. So, but I don't agree with Rachit. I think things that are not broken. I think the Blasters is not a finished product to me. The Blasters, even this season, were not a champions team. So therefore, it's very, very important that that there needs to something needs to happen.
Yeah. A few comments about Noguera as well. The reports are that BFC have agreed terms with Alberto Noguera. Good signing, you think, Anuman?
Potentially, yes, but he wasn't. For me, he wasn't as impactful at Mumbai City as he could have been. I would say, and he has had injury problems and all that. And Vishnu Vijayan talking about KVFC as being a feeder club to others, that needs to stop by again. If the management thinks that they can't compete financially with the biggest boys in the league or the bigger boys in the league, then you have to sell, right? So therefore, for me, that's a point that one has to be realistic about. If you can't compete, so for me, if last season, if you look at it, Prabsukhan going to East Bengal, or other players going to other clubs, Sahal, of course, to Mohun Bagan, it will continue at the moment. But the point is, I think the Blasters need to find their ways and see where they need to go.
Yep. That's the saying. He rates Noguera highly. I rate him too. I just hope, like Arnav mentioned, that he doesn't pick up too many injuries, and it's just going to be interesting to see what happens with him and how BFC are thinking, because we've always had an issue as to where we play our creative midfielder. Harvey has played wide on occasions. He's come in and played as a 10. What happens with Harvey is again going to be interesting. So yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens over the summer. Uh, yep. Hiren Sharad is unfortunately not with us, is not available today. So yeah, but he'll be back tomorrow. We've got the semi-finals, and that's exactly what we're going to move to discussing. Arnava, the big, I mean, of course, transfers and coaches leaving is big news, but semi-final and the semi-final set up so well. Odisha have a 2-1 lead. They go to Kolkata with that lead, the goals lead, and Mohun Bagan, of course, have won. They're also coming off the high of winning the ISL League Shield. Can they turn this tie around?
Yes, they can. Will they? That's the question. I think that's the big question with Mohun Bagan, and of course also about Odisha. I think it's going to be a very interesting tie because a 2-1 lead for Odisha going to Kolkata with the whole history of the season. Mohun Bagan winning 4-0 in the AFC Cup, Odisha winning 5-2 in Kolkata in the AFC Cup, then the draws in the ISL. It will be very interesting to see what happens. I think it's slight advantage for Odisha, but Mohun Bagan has it in them to at least get into extra time or turn around the deficit. But the question is, can Odisha get a goal? Especially Roy Krishna, we've seen how good he has been in the last few weeks and months. So therefore, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
The main thing I think for Odisha, Raj is again pointing out is that there will be without Delgado who's suspended for this. So what is that? What are the combinations going to look like in that Odisha backline and midfield?
I think the midfield, it depends a little bit of what you're going to do with Ahmed Jahu. Are you going to be using Ahmed Jahu as a more defensive player and then say, listen, Ahmed, play with Murtada Fall at the back? That might be an option. Will you play Narendra or will you play a more creative Thoiba? Those are options as well if you want to put an Indian as a centre back and keep Ahmed Jahu in the midfield. So therefore, there are a few options that he can play around. And therefore, yeah, let's see which way they tend to go and how they perceive to play, because Lobera has one thing: Lobera will not sit back. Lobera doesn't know how to sit back. Lobera will want to go for the kill and will want to score the goal to ensure that I score another one, then I'm 3-1, and then for 2 to score. Mohun Bagan have the capabilities of scoring 2, 3, 4, but then it will be an open match, and then we'll see. I think it's very gonna the danger is there that, like in the first leg, if you have an early goal, you'll have goals. But the longer it stays 0-0, the cagier it could get a little dirty, it could get a little nasty. That will be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, that's the issue, right, Anu? I think, don't you think, I mean, you mentioned that Lobera's team will probably go for it. Do you see them nicking an early goal in this one?
Again, as I said, both teams have the strikers to do that. Roy Krishna on the one side, or even Isaac, I think, is due an easy one. Even though he scored one the other day, but again, he's due an easier one, so to say, one of his long-range creative goals. That I would like to see that. On the other side, Cummings is set to start. Petratos is always worth a goal. Manveer has scored quite a few in recent weeks. Liston is in there. Sahal might play some role, some down the minutes. So therefore, yeah, there's a lot to play for in that game.
Yep, absolutely. Why are Mumbai matches always on weekdays? Very few matches season on weekends. Saying Ashu, I know sometimes
it's just the scheduling done by the ISL. Yeah, I mean the playoffs was clear. If you finish, I mean Mumbai would have played on a Sunday tomorrow if they had won the ISL. So therefore, yeah, bad luck.
What can you say about it? I mean, but yeah, that is what it is. And yep, talking about going into this game, of course, Mohun Bagan are also missing Armando Sadiku. How is that going to affect them? Hiren, of course, we asked this question to him and he said it wouldn't as much because they've got Jason Cummings off the bench. Do you think that they have the puff? You think Cummings has done enough to show you that he can come in and do a job in current situations?
Well, the point with Jason Cummings is he hasn't played too many minutes per se, but he's got his goals. So from that perspective, he's been quite effective. So um, him and Petratos are a dangerous combo. Therefore, in my opinion, yes. I mean, Mohun Bagan has all possibilities, capabilities to turn this around and win this tie.
Sariko suspended, the advantage to Mohun Bagan, says Rachit, which means I think I presume that he's saying you have a chance to bring on Cummings, which will be more of a threat.
I don't think so, because I think a lot of people are forgetting the amount of legwork that Armando Sadiku is putting in for the team, and he's also scored a few goals here and there. So therefore, it's never about one player. If we're saying that Delgado suspension is a drawback for Odisha, then for Mohun Bagan, again, Mohun Bagan have options. But Cummings is a different kind of striker than Sadiku, and Cummings will have to do a lot of running, and Cummings does not like to do that much of running. I think that's going to be a drawback for them.
Yep. True. I mean, they've got such talented players in that midfield. What do you think Sahal is going to do? I don't know, what sort of role is he going to play? Because you've got all these guys on the pitch. There's something there for Mohun Bagan, and there's always something there. But you see Sahal playing a major role in this one?
He could be of interest if it's like a super sub. I mean, I think that could be the role for Sahal. I don't see him taking a bigger role. But I think for me, the question is if Sahal is going to be ready to be the super sub and maybe if needed brought on and create something or to give some creative spark which helps Mohun Bagan to win the game.
Yep. Ashutosh pointing out, Cummings probably not the best work rate in that Mohun Bagan squad. But they've got that massive threat from Dimi Petratos. I know, again, not much to be said about him because he's already, he speaks for himself, everything that he does. Probably has he been the most consistent player for you in the past couple of years in the ISL?
I would think so. I mean, I've said it that without Dimi Petratos, Mohun Bagan or ATK Mohun Bagan last season, Mohun Bagan Super Giant this season, but last season they wouldn't have won it. They would have not won the ISL Cup. So that's something which I feel is a good move to have such a player. Let's see what he does.
And this is an interesting question, Arama. I thought, because we've seen Brandon score all these wonderful goals and play well for Goa, Sahal, of course, has been injured over the past few weeks. Once Sahal returns, who's India's first choice creative midfielder?
I think to answer that question now in late April will be very difficult. We can have that discussion, let's say, in late May, early June, just before the match against Kuwait. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 4 or 5 weeks. So therefore, at the moment, it's too early to discuss.
Yep, absolutely. That's the thing. I'm saying 90%. Tickets sold out for second semi-final in Mumbai Football Arena. Of course, after that comeback, I would assume that there'd be a lot of fans who want to go to the stadium and support that team. But yeah, no, it's very.
But it also shows, right? I mean, if we've seen the interest in Odisha, we've seen the interest in Goa. We will see the interest tomorrow in Kolkata. We'll see the interest on Monday in Mumbai. I mean, we've been talking about the playoffs, and I think the average attendances in the playoffs will be much higher than the attendances of each respective club during the season. So that's another reason to speak about it, to say, listen, guys, you know what? If we, as football purists, we would say most probably we want just the league to be the league, but the playoffs in India have its own charm.
Yep. I was having this conversation as well with a friend, and we know that the importance is still given to the league, but there's something about this that makes it just a lot of fun. And even me, although we lost the final last season, I just having those couple of games against Mumbai, I think gave us so many memories as fans, and you can fondly look back at them. I mean, after a few years, I think it just gives fans a little more as well. Do you see Mohun
I
Bagan is
mean,
going?
just
Yeah,
to add one point to it, last season's most exciting match in the playoffs of the season will be BFC Blasters. And up to now, the most exciting match of the playoffs this season will be Goa against Mumbai, right? These
yeah,
matches are matches to be remembered,
100%.
you know.
Exactly.
So let's see.
And yeah, no, do you expect Manolo Marquez to go to the Blasters?
It's a possibility. I think there are, I've heard rumors about someone else being appointed Goa coach for next season. So therefore, I don't know. There's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of talk, and we'll have to wait and see. Again, I think this whole transfer business of players and coaches has become such a rumor mill, um, that I always wait for some confirmation before actually talking about it. Because again, good example was, I mean, I had heard that Vukomanović might be relieved of his job, but funnily, it was not a topic which was being discussed in the last few days on social media, right? Normally, this would have been discussed if someone, some of the guys who discuss transfers would have talked about it. It would have been the big talk before, Kerala Blasters came out with an official statement. Yesterday, they came out with an official statement, and then the whole thing became big.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, I think it is of course just best to wait for official confirmation before we really start getting too excited about these things. Um, yeah, ISL fan base may be small, but they're very loyal, says Deepak Das. Oh, you think ISL fans are loyal?
I
Fan
think so.
loyalty is a big deal.
I
Yeah.
think I think there's a lot of loyalty. We've spoken about Kerala Blasters. Look at Mumbai City. Small but fine. FC Goa has their loyal fans. Of course, East Bengal, Mohun Bagan, and BFC is a little different. They all have a little. The two Calcutta clubs have a longer history. BFC, of course, has been having fans since its I League days, since 2013. But you see now, I think Northeast United will have more fans next season again in the stadium. I think it's positive. Odisha is building something. Chennai has had fans as well. So therefore, there's a lot of interesting things that are floating around, and we'll have to wait and see what happens really. So therefore, I think it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yep. Completely agree, Rajat. Not a good coach yet for BFC. I think that's the struggle we've had. I again would still say we haven't seen. We don't know what Gerard Zaragoza is still about. We as fans are still trying to figure out what sort of football he's trying to bring to the club. So yeah, there are a lot of question marks over that part of the club for sure. Yeah, but I don't know predictions for tomorrow because it's a big game and. Yeah, that's just also asking Owen call cooking. He's doing well.
It looks very interesting what he's signing, but the point to me is that certain signings only make sense if Chennai will also release certain players. I mean, for example, Gurkirat is being discussed today. It's been reported that Kian Nasiri will join them. But if those two join them, what happens then to Rahim Ali? What happens to Irfan Yadwat, for example? Ninthoy is supposedly going to East Bengal. They signed Chima Chukwu, they've signed Elzinho, they signed Laldeep Puya, all from Jamshedpur. So therefore, them now with Chima Chukwu, then in there, does it make sense for a good kid really to go there as well? So therefore, some interesting things are being discussed. Let's see which of these transfers come true. And again, up to next Saturday, Sunday, we'll be talking about the ISL, and from next Monday, 6th onwards, we'll be talking about transfers and rumors and what all is happening in Indian football.
I know predictions for tomorrow. Big one.
It will be a close one. This might even go into extra time. But I think Odisha is going to go through. I see Roy Krishna scoring a goal.
Okay. Yeah. Is Brandon going to Mumbai or no? Because you are, of course.
It's been linked, but there's nothing confirmed at the moment.
Yeah, so that's where we are. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, guys. A lot of fun tomorrow because the tie is set up very well. I know I was saying Odisha to go through. I think I'd love Odisha to go through as well, just from a neutral's perspective. no agendas here. But yeah, it's been nice to watch Odisha this season. I think they've given a good account of themselves. Roy Krishna, Diego Maurizio, all these guys. I think they deserve a trophy at the end of this campaign, and hopefully it is. Yeah, Rachid, dude, my prediction is just this. I think Odisha will score early, and that should get the job done. 1-0 to Odisha in this game, so 3-1 on aggregate is what I think we'll get in the end. I don't see, but I don't know. Like the funny part is again before we close, I just want to ask you again. I cannot trust this Odisha defense. So what do we do there?
Yes, but I think that the interesting part is, would you trust the Mohun Bagan defense? They've been leaky as well in the recent
Yeah,
matches,
yeah.
right? So therefore, it could go into being a high scoring game. So I think again, the question is, as we've seen in this ISL, it's very difficult to talk about a script because an early goal always opens up games. But again, as I said, if it's cagey and if it's one goal here or there, it could go either way. And the thing is also, a full Salt Lake Stadium is a bonus if Mohun Bagan is ahead. But if by any chance Odisha go ahead, that stadium becomes a liability. So that's also something which needs to be discussed.
Deepak also saying I want Odisha to win. So yeah, a lot of support for Odisha going into this. I think from the neutrals at least, you'd expect that. I think everybody's backing the underdog. Of course, Mohun Bagan just won the ISL League Shield, so they would be considered favorites, although they're a goal down going into the second leg. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining in. Thank you, Anuva. We've got the game tomorrow, so we'll be there after that to review it, and hopefully we have a lot of things to talk about. I'm hoping for an exciting one. But yeah, thanks everyone. Please like and share our videos. Subscribe to all the channels. Sports Kabri, Arun Foot, Kirisari. We'll be back.
Bye and see you tomorrow night, 9:30.